Calaroga Shark Media.
Hello, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Pretty robust for a Sunday. Late Night had some good jokes about Trump's testimony on Thursday. Stephen Colbert said, "We're smack dab in the heart of primary season and Donald Trump is out there trying to win over the voters that matter most, his juries." Colbert said that a judge limiting Donald Trump to yes or no answers is fitting because the whole trial is the result of Trump disregarding everything after no. Kimmel said everything went smoothly until the judge asked him to tell the truth, the whole truth, and everybody busted out laughing. Fallon said Trump only lasted about 3 minutes. Then Stormy Daniels was like, wow, a minute longer than I expected. Love it. New topic, Jimmy Fallon. Well, Nikki Haley is refusing to drop out of the race and Trump is still furious about it. Haley's worried if she quits, she'll be humiliated or worse, Trump's VP. Hey, I want to address my bagel comments from the end of yesterday's show. I casually dropped that I get bagels from the National Donuts chain, and I was like, bagel snobs are going to be all over me for that. Okay, why do you do that, Johnny Mac? Couple of reasons. There's a fantastic bagel store in my town. I'm from New York City. I know a good bagel. I know the difference between a good bagel and the bagels you get in the rest of the country. Totally get it. And the National Donuts chain bagels are what you get in the rest of the country. Totally get it. The bagel store in town, especially on a Sunday, the line is quite long. If I don't get there before 8 a.m., forget it. And sometimes I like to sleep in. The other thing is I go visit my mom every day, and my mom really likes a tea and a blueberry muffin from the donuts chain. So I'm like, all right, I'll just keep this minimum. I'm going to get my coffee anyway, and I just get the National Donuts chain bagel. That's why. So if you're like, Johnny Mac doesn't know anything about bagels, I know about bagels. I'm just too lazy. I opened up the Spotify app just to see what Joe Rogan was up to. He has had on Jim Norton and Ron White. I still didn't listen to the Jim Brewer episode. I just don't use the Spotify app, and I really wish Rogan was out there on every other app so I could listen to these things. I have to plan to have a Joe Rogan day every now and then. But Norton and Ron White and I guess Brewer, they're all there if you want to check up on that. All right, the estate of George Carlin is suing the makers of the AI George Carlin quote-unquote special. That whole special versus hour thing came up on Facebook again. But I think we can all agree AI George Carlin is definitely not a special. It's not even a real thing. So I don't know what we call it. The lawsuit calls the release a bastardization of Carlin's real work and a piece of computer-generated clickbait, which detracts from the value of Carlin's comedic works and harms his reputation. The lawsuit accuses the defendants of seeking to capitalize on the name, reputation, and likeness of George Carlin. It says no one had permission to use Carlin's likeness or copyrighted works. The lawsuit adds, in addition to the immediate fact of infringement, defendants' AI-generated George Carlin special may also deter young audiences who are unfamiliar with George Carlin from engaging with his real work and his legacy. Troidal points out that Dudesy suggested a possible line of defense in the introduction to their special, in which they have the AI say in a Carlin voice, I just want to let you know very clearly that what you're about to hear is not George Carlin. It's my impersonation of George Carlin that I developed in the exact same way a human impressionist would. I listened to all of George Carlin's material. I did my best to imitate his voice, cadence, and attitude, as well as the subject matter I think would have interested him today. So think of it like Andy Kaufman impersonating Elvis or like Will Ferrell impersonating George W. Bush. So I am no lawyer. That makes me wonder, if I dressed up like George Carlin, and we went down to the Chuckle Hut and you guys filmed it and I threw it up on YouTube and it's me going, you ever notice the bagels at the National Donuts chain aren't as good as the ones at the regular store? Can I do that? If I do it for 30 seconds, is it okay? If I do it for 8 minutes, is it okay? If I label it Johnny Mac's George Carlin impression, is that better than if I go, here's a George Carlin special? I don't know. Very interesting case here. The legal papers say the AI special has, quote, no comedic or creative value absent its self-proclaimed connection with George Carlin. It does not, for example, satirize Carlin as a performer or offer an independent critique of society. In short, defenders sought to capitalize on the name, reputation, and likeness of George Carlin. Okay, so if I follow up on that, again, I'm not a lawyer, me doing my really terrible bagel joke, I think there I would be selling my impressionist skills and not that I'm anywhere as good as George Carlin. It's just me doing the same thing when I do like Angry Jerry Seinfeld or Half-Assed Jeff Foxworthy. Kelly Carlin told The Hollywood Reporter, we have to draw a line in the sand. This is going to be a fight on every front with entertainment at the center. A lot of football today. Go Niners. Talk about them in a second. First up, it's Chiefs Ravens. KansasCity.com covered the celebrity rivalries between the Chiefs and the Ravens. On Ravens.com, the Ravens wrote, They've got Taylor Swift. We've got Stavy, meaning Stavros Halkias. As soon as Ravens fans knew that the team was facing the Chiefs in the AFC Championship, the battle of the celebrities began. It's Taylor Swift versus Stavros Halkias. KC.com writes, who? Ryan Mink is the editorial director for the Ravens, and he wrote, right now, there may be nobody that personifies Baltimore better than Stavros, and with the Swift show coming to town, fans are holding up Stavy like a badge of honor. Stavros told Mink, do you want a billionaire international pop star, or do you want a fat balding man who's barely a celebrity by the most charitable standards and lives and dies with his team? Those are your options here, folks. Yeah, Taylor seems like... You know how like people say Mark Zuckerberg is a robot who has studied how to be a human? Taylor looks like somebody who watched other people watching a football game and studied what they do. Like when the Chiefs score, she goes way over the top. It all seems contrived to me. Bring it on, Swifties. Make sure you get the podcast name right. Share it on your message boards. I don't care. I like her music a lot. Her concert was probably the best concert I've ever seen. But her football rooting seems a little contrived. Sorry. KC.com writes, Taylor's a Jane come lately compared to all the celebrities who cheer for the Chiefs, some for decades. That list includes Jason Sudeikis, Eric Stonestreet, Heidi Gardner, and Brad Pitt. The longer list includes Henry Winkler, Mac Packer, Backstreet Boy Kevin Richardson, Janelle Monáe, Miranda Lambert, and Melissa Etheridge, who recently appeared in a parody Hallmark Christmas movie about the playoffs. Taylor Swift took A-list friends Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and Hugh Jackman to the Chiefs-Jets game in New Jersey in October. Yeah, see, that seems fake. Hugh Jackman's not a Chiefs fan. Get out of here. Jenny Scullin is the founder of a Kansas City area Ravens fan group called the Midwest Nest. She told the Star, the country might be watching Taylor Swift, and we have a lot of respect for her, but her eyes will be on the field this Sunday. Get it back to comedy, John. Okay, Ravens.com writes, Stavros is Ravens through and through. He was born in Baltimore and grew up in Greektown in southeast Baltimore. He remembers vividly when the Ravens arrived in town in 1996 when they stole the Cleveland Browns. Let's not just gloss over that, guys. Remembers the process of naming the team and attending a pass, punt, and kick competition to introduce kids to the players. And I know you lost your team to Indianapolis. Yell at them, not me. You stole the Browns. When I take over as commissioner, I'm putting all the teams back where they belong, and I guess the Cleveland will then have two teams, both named the Browns. The 7-year-old Stavros caught passes from Vinny Testaverde and got kicking pointers from Matt Stover. The love grew deeper when the Ravens won their first Super Bowl in 2000 when Stavros was in 6th grade. He was, of course, a big Tony Siragusa fan. He said, as a chubby little Greek kid, to see a big fat Italian guy who's charismatic and all over the place, he was my guy. I was one of the only white kids at my school. If there's a fat white celebrity, believe me, I got called that guy. When we were playing pickup football those years, 6th grade, 7th grade, everybody called me Goose. His claim to fame was getting a sack in the City Poly High School football game played at M&T Bank Stadium. At least that's what the PA announcer said, except Stavros wasn't even on the field. He said, it's only recently that I've admitted it. I've accomplished enough that I don't have to use that to fuel my ego anymore. I can admit I didn't actually get that sack. A couple years ago, he started posting occasional YouTube videos as Ronnie, reacting to Baltimore sports happenings. It took off, and for the past 2 seasons, he's done a reaction after every game. He said, that wasn't my end game. I was basically just blowing off a little steam making the videos. I never thought when I made an ignorant caricature of a Baltimore Ravens fan that would be the thing that was like, yeah, the organization's going to love this. Their credit, all the Ravens people I've talked to, they have such a great sense of humor and have been so cool to work with. Obviously, I can't do the completely uncensored version, but it's not like they're trying to change the character. It's like, how can we find a nice middle ground here that works for us while still being really funny? Stavi wants to challenge Jason Kelsey to a beer chugging contest. He was scheduled to perform last night in Dallas, but was catching a 6 a.m. flight to Baltimore to make today's game. He jokes, you know how elections from the TV station have to offer equal time to each political party? All I want is CBS to let me get a shot, and then you have to go to Taylor. Meanwhile, from the Monterey County Weekly, Kathleen Madigan heading up to Monterey. She, too, weighed in on the NFL postseason. She has the 49ers going all the way in her bracket, but wouldn't mind a Detroit win. She knows a lot of people there. She says, the 49ers for my gambling, Detroit for my friends, the Chiefs for Missouri, but everybody forgets about Baltimore. John Mulaney had to cancel a show. This one was at the Thunder Valley Casino Report near Lincoln, Nebraska, and he said, after hours of trying, I'm stranded 1 plane ride away, and I'm not going to make it. My apology. Everyone who had tickets. Mulaney rescheduled the show for Friday, April 19th. At SketchFest today, we can start at 11 a.m. with Mo Willems and the Storytime All-Stars. That's sold out. Weird Al, W. Kamau Bell, Joe Latruglio, Dulce Sloan. Pretty good. I won't read all the shows. 1 o'clock, Amber Ruffin. 3 o'clock, Doug Loves Movies. 5 o'clock, Dave Hill's Caveman in a Spaceship. 7 o'clock, Stupid Songs and Stories with Kevin McDonald. The Benson Movie Interruption, Fast X. And Triumph at 8 o'clock. We'll talk about Triumph tomorrow. SketchFest has a day off. And I like a good fight. I like this headline. Stand-up comedian split the internet after beefing on TikTok over a rude headliner. Katie goes by Katie K Comedy. She was upset that the headliner, Mojo Brooks, roasted her. According to Katie, she had a perfectly wonderful set that went overtime. When Mojo Brooks arrived late to his own show, she said, I didn't bomb. I'm a self-aware person. I've been doing stand-up for over 8 years. If I bombed, I think I'd know. But according to Katie, she was unfairly ripped into by Mojo Brooks. She said, he comes out, he doesn't look me in the eye, doesn't shake my hand, starts ripping me to shreds saying, I'm so sorry that she was on the show. You didn't rock up to the wrong building, and I'm sorry if you wanted a refund. Katie captioned her video, people like this give stand-up comics a bad name. Yeah, that's a bad look. Don't trash your opener. Brooks responded with his own video in which he denied arriving late to the show and claimed Katie did not bring the energy to his show. He included messages he'd received from fans who questioned whether they were at the wrong show during her act, as well as clips to compare both sets. He said, for the record, I'm the biggest female comedy supporter. I've taken several on the road with me over my 10-year career. I requested a female feature that night. It just wasn't her night that night, but I couldn't ignore the elephant in the room. I even had the crowd clap it up for her. Wish her the best in her career, but ma'am, be honest. Katie has responded, claiming that Brooks specifically used clips that would showcase him in a positive light. To put the matter to rest, Brooks posted a full clip from Katie's set to prove that he wasn't using clips in his favor. I like a good fight. If you enjoy the show, tell a friend about it. They might like it too. Thank you so much for listening. The numbers were pretty big this week, which was real nice. It's fun doing this every day. I like talking to you guys. See you tomorrow.